Component 3, Finance. Today we're going to have a look at gross profit margin. This is representing the gross profit as a percentage of sales. And in this chart, you can see that our gross profit is the blue thing, and it's just over about 25%. So that's what we're going to find out how we're going to work that out today. To calculate the gross profit margin, we need to look at the statement of comprehensive income. First of all, we need to look at the revenue. How much revenue has the business earned? How much money has it earned? There is the cost of sales, the cost of making the item, the raw materials. So if I was making cars, this would be the wheels and the windscreen wipers. And then we take our cost of sales from the revenue to give us our gross profit. So that is the information on the statement of comprehensive income we're looking at. In my example, I have earned £1,000 in revenue. I have a cost of sales of £300, so therefore that gives me £700 as a gross profit. And we are going to express £700 as a percentage of the £1,000. To do this, you take the gross profit figure 700, we divide it by the revenue figure 1,000, and then we times it by 100 in order to turn it into a percentage, and that will give us our gross profit margin. So we can see 700 divided by 1,000 times 100, 70%. So of the money earned as revenue, this business kept 70% of £700 of money. That's really rather good. Now, we can use the gross profit margin to compare a business over time. So if we have a look at this business, it's got revenue which is going up, it's got cost of sales which is going up, and you'd think as you sold more it would cost you more to make them, and we have gross profit that is also going up. So if we can calculate the gross profit margin for each of these 3 years, we would be able to see which year do they keep most money as a percentage as gross profit. So we take our gross profit figure, we divide it by revenue, and we times it by 100 to find the gross profit margin. And in the first year, 700 as a percentage of 1,000 is 70%. In the second year, it's not so good. They may have increased their gross profit, but as a percentage, it's actually less. They're just keeping over half. And then in their third year, even though their sales have gone up dramatically and their gross profit has risen, they're only keeping 45% of it as gross profit. So actually, how well they're doing, they did best in the first year and have got steadily worse. So by working out the gross profit margin, we can really see what is happening. So we can also use the gross profit margin to compare between businesses. So if we have a look at my food shop with the sales of £1 million, cost of sales, cost of buying in the food of 890,000 and a gross profit of 110,000 versus my hairdresser, £300,000 is their revenue. They spent £50,000 on shampoos and things like that, and they have a gross profit of £250,000. Which is the best? It looks like it's the hairdresser. Let's find out. So we take our gross profit figure, we divide it by revenue, we times it by 100, we get our gross profit margin. And we can see the food shop, for each pound spent in the food shop, they kept 11%. If we work out the same for the hairdressers, 250 divided by 300 times by 100, they kept 83.3%. The hairdresser is by far the better business for gross profit margin.